Hello everybody, welcome to CoKo Plays Wingspan. Let's just do our usual simple game. Couple AI players. Nice and relaxing. I got my coffee and my birds. Alright, let's take a look at the later round bonuses. Got a couple nest type bonuses. And let's see the bonus cards we got. So no nest ones, but we can go for colors or this type of bird power. That type of bird power is pretty common, but I didn't get dealt any options for it, unfortunately. So let's see if any birds with colors in the name are here. Chestnut, does that count as a... It does. That one's not a particularly good early game bird though. It's got a high food cost and its benefit is to give you bonus cards, which, you know, you don't really want right away, usually. So, we might have to forego aiming for those bonuses and just kind of build up until we can adjust. So Wilson Snipe is a pretty good early bird, easy to play, gets us as well as the other players an extra card. Having little bits of extra things at the beginning is very helpful. And we're going to want to play a bird in each habitat within the first couple rounds to get eggs in each habitat. Alright, I said I probably wasn't going to do this, but I like the ones that do laying eggs once between turns, but I got no bowl nests. I suppose I will if I aim towards the last round bonus. But when I play this, there'll be a number of rounds where I'm not collecting any benefit. It's not a ton of fun, and it doesn't have any egg slots itself, so that's not a good option. I guess we will go for the chestnut colored longspur and then try and get something for the forest habitat to give us some food. Unfortunately, they conflict on one of the resource types, so that actually makes it harder. Let's do the peregrine falcon, because then we only need to get food once in order to play it. And we could always make a guess at what food type we might need. Like have an extra grain lying around. It can't hurt. Or we can grab a card which we could then trade for food at some point, maybe. Alright, and since we're going this direction, we'll do the colors. Let's see how we get. I wonder if my camera might be better placed where I have it for Baldur's Gate 3 in like the top left of the screen, maybe. It's not really, like, it's not like covering something truly important there. Hello, Phoenix Ranger. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Birds on a Tuesday. Now let's keep an eye out for some good birds to play in the forest. Northern mockingbird's pretty good. Oh yeah, right. We also want to get a rodent. Let's grab it now while we can. Oh, nice. Tea on a train. That sounds pretty great too.
Peregrine falcon. Diving to attack. A peregrine falcon can reach speeds up to 200 miles per hour. Wilson's snipe. Due to the position of their eyes, Wilson snipes can see predators approaching from the front and back.
Aw, good little Wilson snipe. Alright, I did get some extra food. I might use it for an egg. I don't love the card options I have here, but I gotta do something. Alright, let's grab this northern mockingbird. Eventually, I'll have another bird with the power. Let's discard an egg and get an extra card too. Okay, that's pretty decent. Okay, we got a lot of birds for that nest type now. Grr. Rolling to try and get the food you need comes with the risk. You might not roll it. You figure you got 5 dice, one of them's got to be a cherry. But nope, it don't happen that way. It's okay. Let's start getting some of these grains. We could try again for that food, or we can play. I did it again. I took another chance on food and failed again. But I'm going to end up using all of this grain anyway, so it's fine. The big issue with that, though, is that... let's get a fishy. I don't want to use any eggs on my last turn so that I can be in contention for the round bonus in having 2 eggs in the wetlands. So, there we go. So now we're going to have to start playing some of these birds.
Cassin's sparrow. Ornithologist John Cassin died from years of handling arsenic-preserved birds.
That's not a very relaxing piece of information. Alright, I'm digging this bird here, actually. Let's just grab it real quick. Good. Alright, we got tons of birds now.
Blue-gray gnatcatcher. Gnatcatcher's breeding range is steadily shifting north with climate change.
Alright, I got lucky. And got a cherry finally. And this is a good bird whose power I would want to repeat. Wait, what? Oh, but I don't have a grub? What terrible fortune that I wouldn't have a grub, but I finally got a cherry. Okay, let's play one of the other birds and hope that we get one through that bonus that somebody has. Wait, but that's all our eggs. Okay, we'll lay
Belted
eggs
kingfisher.
next time.
The kingfisher burrow can go up to 6 feet into a riverbank and slopes to shed water.
Well, go ahead, kingfisher. Yay, we gained the thing I needed and we don't have an egg to play it. That's okay. We'll lay some eggs. Actually, let me redo this. I might as well put them on.
Northern mockingbird. A
Animals
male
are great.
mockingbird may learn around
Birds are
200
pretty great.
songs throughout its life.
Alright, let's do one more round of eggs so that we can get 2 sets. Alright, we got lots of options now. Too many options. We got 3 birds that we could play in the immediate time frame. And then we're going to want to draw cards and lay eggs. We should be able to do all those things. So what bird do we want where? Two of them have the identical benefit. Alright, let's do this one here. And it's got a color in its name, so that's nice for our bonus.
Red-winged blackbird. Blackbird flocks can include hundreds of thousands of birds.
Yeah, there's the killdeer and the Franklin's Gull have the same activation bonus, and so do I play both? And if I do I split them across the habitats? Do I play the one that has like the higher bird value? Because one of them has a star, so that one's better because it participates in both bonuses, which is nice. But we could do both. It's not a... Yeah, if we... Maybe we do both, then lay eggs, and then draw cards, maybe?
Killdeer. Killdeers will fake a broken wing to lure predators from their nests.
Oh, that's pretty sneaky, killdeer. Nice. What do I want for food?
Franklin's gull. These gulls make floating nests of plant material on prairie marshes.
Alright, we got a lot of bird cards. Which one do I absolutely not want to play? Probably this one. Or maybe the other. Well, I got so many bird cards now. I don't know what to do. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that I could play in the prairie immediately. I got 2 turns. Thing is, I need like one of those turns to lay eggs. So ideally, I'd like to play one of these birds here and then lay eggs. But I'm missing some resources to do so. So maybe we do things in the other order. Let's spend a fish, because we probably won't play any more birds in the other area. Let's spend a fish and lay a bunch of eggs. So let's lay on there, on there, on there. Sure. Now, do I want to discard to get even more cards? Alright. Yeah. 1 turn too late to bother with you.
Red crossbill. These birds use their specialized bills to pry apart conifer seed cones.
Alright, how many birds do we want to play here? 2 maybe? That'd be pretty good. We have plenty of grub. We need one more bird with a color. There we go, chestnut. That counts as a color. Beautiful, so we're going to get that. And which other one do we want to play? Tuck a card to lay an egg? Yeah, that's a good one. So we need 4 wheat, so we need to get... take all 3. Or... we have plenty of cards. We could waste one. But we're going to want to tuck cards. But we still have plenty of food. Because we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 if we repeat the power to get this. And 4 is plenty for... yeah, that's enough. So let's take 1, 2, and then get that, and then repeat this power. Cool.
Dick Sissel. This bird used to live in the eastern U.S., but its range has shrunk due to habitat loss. Chestnut-collared longspur. This bird's population dropped by 82% between 1966 and 2015.
And it's a melancholic day of Wingspan. Sweet. I got every single round bonus. That should help me. I got some points for my bonus cards, both of them. So I think I definitely got over 90. Oh no. Wow, that was a close one. I won by 1 point. 85, 84, 83, 80. That's pretty good. I'll take it. And the question now is, do we switch it over to something else? And do we play Wingspan some more? Maybe we could seek out another bonus game. Let's see what we got. It is kind of fun to like try out a few things. Don't really have another like card game type game to show off, but could show off some other stuff. Let's see, what's this? Alright, let's try this. I'll get it out and then I'll announce it. I don't know if like the resolution and everything is all properly set, but I can adjust it pretty easily. There we go, Dorfromantik. So this was a video game first that became a board game, but I didn't know that. I was at the board game store and I was exploring stuff and I saw this and it looked fun and I got it and it's pretty good. But there's a flexibility to the video game version that kind of beats out on the board game, but it's a fun board game too. So it's like Wingspan in a sense. It's got a relaxing component to it. Let's start like a new game. Just a classic regular game. So you build out, you know, a romantic Dorf, like a romantic town, village, by placing tiles. Yeah, and like the interface works well with it. And you can set like different like colors and themes for the background and music and whatnot, and the tiles too. They can have like kind of different terrain depicted, or different skews of the terrain types. But it's very casual in nature. But has some, you know, little challenges to think about as you go about it. So, you know, it's simple to understand. You got tiles with different features on them, and in order to place them, you want to match up like for like. So with hexagonal tiles, you know, you got 6 sides to work with, and you know, you start off with just a blank tile, with a plain tile with no features on it. So the first one I got in my stack has 2 edges that have houses on them, and it comes with a goal. So that icon depicted above the tile is giving me a task. And the task is create a connected blob of houses that's greater than 3. And there's already 2 on this thing, so that's a fairly easy goal to achieve. Now, you're not obligated to do it. It's just kind of like the scoring system. If you want to keep getting more and more points, you want to try and meet the criteria for as many of these little challenges as they give you. But really, the priority can be just creating a nice, pretty town. And that's, like, kind of fun. And, like, because of They have a creative mode, which I was playing with, where like there are no challenges or restrictions. You can just get whatever tiler you want and place it however you like. And it's kind of overwhelming when you do it that way, because now it's like you have full creative control. You don't know what to do. But what's kind of fun about like trying to play the game in earnest and like trying to get the points and stuff is you end up creating a pretty looking town in like an organic way, and then you can backfill a little story in your head about what that town is like. Like, oh, they got a train running through town, and like this there's a small collection of shops around the train, and then there's a forest, and then there's like the other side of town where people live surrounded by trees, and then they got a lake, and then there's some crops, some fields next to the lake. So yeah, so you can kind of do whatever you want. So here's a tile with two sides having fields. And so you can try and think. So for full flexibility, you can point these away from what you've currently placed down, giving you more room to decide how to take advantage of them. But then you also might say to yourself, hey, if I got a village building up over here, maybe they should have some farms right next to the village, because you know they don't want to have to walk too far to take care of their crops. But again, it's like you can do whatever you want. And you know, since I just started and I have a lot of freedom of maneuverability, let's take advantage of that a little bit. Exactly, like you can start making character names as if it's SimCity. I actually considered playing City Skylines too, for a similar reason, where it's just fun to make like a little town, and City Skylines does a nice job of giving you an individuality to everyone. Like you can click on people going through town and they have names and you know who they are and like where they work, so you can start creating little stories for your town. But we can do that too, because we already got two houses. So yeah, we got some people to name. So, you know, Farmer Jenkins. There we go. Alright, so we got another village tile. It has an independent hamlet goal, but at any point you can kind of satisfy both by unifying them. And these tiles where more than one of the edges have the same feature are really useful. So this way, so there's two ways to do this. We can connect them like this, and then we have two edges here, but they're kind of next to each other. The other way to play this is to connect one edge and then leave one open. So now we have two edges on completely different tiles to keep the village going. So it's really how you want to do it. And there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. And you can look ahead to the tile stack a little bit. Like you can see the next couple that are coming down. So, for example, there's one that has a single house on it. So you can use that to close a set, which could be here if I wanted to, and I only need one more to satisfy these two goals. So maybe I'll do that. It'll create a tiny little collection of houses together, and that'll be that. And then the next one I get will create a new set of houses. Alright, so now we got an empty tile with some forest that cuts through two non-contiguous edges. So let's actually kind of do it like this. So maybe the forest will run next to the village. So if we place it like this, actually, you know what? Let me move that forest. This will work. So now we satisfied the criteria for both of those previous housing tiles goals, and also closed it off, so we can't expand this anymore. But that's fine. We'll get other houses to place, and then there's some farms that we can continue. So this is kind of fun. I like doing this. We can close off this one farm immediately, and it can be just like a little farm for some like aromatics next to their houses. The other option is to close off one edge of an existing farm. Nah. We're gonna give them a little farm next to their houses that leads maybe to a forest. Alright, so now we got some other farms to mess with. So something like this will help us connect these two farms. Actually, no, they're not connected, I think. I kind of want to do this anyway. Alright, so now we got a tile that's half forest and half village. And the village comes with another quest to create 8+ housing, which we can do. This actually works nicely because we used one edge of the tile to connect the forest, but then this tile here wouldn't be connected ordinarily because there's an edge on this tile that is not forested. It's kind of like a line between these two edges, but by placing this forest here, now we have a way to connect this tile into the forest if we want to. So that's actually really nice. Yeah, so if we do something like this, then we can still grow the farm that on this side. There's lots of options. And the thing that works out nicely about the game is that you have to pick something. And once you place tiles, you end up just growing something whether you like it or not. So, you know, the creative blank canvas mode where you're paralyzed by choice and like you want to aim for perfection. This takes that away from you. Just pick something and go with it, and then it'll end up looking nice anyway. So we can make this a large housing area, or So this is a unique tile where it's all housing. All 6 edges are housing. Some of the differences too between the computer game and the board game is the board game does things much more tile based. So here the quests are per individual house on top of the tile. So there's actually 7 on here. The one in the middle counts independently. And so the houses along the edge match up the type of the edges to the other tiles. But there's more to it than just that. And like the board game tries to make it simpler. And like you match up, you fulfill quests by placing tiles with certain numbers of things on them, not individual units of the thing. There's just like more flexibility with the video game version. Okay, originally I kind of thought this would be fun. But I actually maybe want to see how this little farm stuff comes together. No, I lied. Alright, I kind of like it here. Let's see what happens. Alright, we've satisfied the criteria for the farms here, but we still have one tile where it could expand to, or we could close it off if we get the right tile for that thing. So I kind of like that. Yeah, closing off quests is kind of a good idea. Like you don't want to, you don't want to leave them open-ended because if you close them off, you get more tiles to work with, and also then you leave fewer considerations for new tiles. If you've closed off your quest and satisfy the criteria, you can then use the surrounding tiles for whatever else you want. You don't have to like sit there and think, oh, I can't place something there because I need another housing tile to finish this quest. Okay, so things start to change in this game when you get to the railroad tiles and the water tiles, because they behave differently than the other types, because they're more restrictive. Like with forest, if you want to continue a forest, you can place forest tiles to have adjacencies and grow. But if you don't want to, you just place any other type of tile edge and close it off. You can't do that with railroad. You have to keep the railroad going. If you got a railroad edge, you've got to continue the railroad in that direction. You can't place just a random other tile there. So now railroads like have special consideration. You gotta leave room open for them to grow. Exactly the same thing with water. They behave the same way. The only difference is that water you can terminate by putting it next to like another terrain type. You can create like a lake or something, or end a river. So I guess right. So I guess water is more like the other tiles than railroad. All right, so typically then what you want to do is, yeah, put it where you have maximum flexibility, which would be over here for me. This kind of sucks as a railroad tire too, because it's like a, I don't know, a crossing or a fork. So we're gonna have to continue these rail lines in 3 directions. And 2 of them are going towards our other tiles, no matter which way we orient it. So we're just gonna have to figure out how to make this happen. Alright, we got a mill, which I think is just like a marker for the farm quest or something. I think you can. I think like anything you place next to water that's not water, and this is I stumbled a bit in explaining it because the board game does work differently because of the fact that the board game tiles obviously can't be animated by the computer to adapt. And so what's depicted visually on the tile in terms of water has to be continued, otherwise it'll look weird. Like if you have water that goes to the edge of a tile and all of a sudden there's a house next to it, it looks funky. It looks like, you know, the water doesn't end and then there's a house. But in the board game, in the video game, the drawing, the way the tile is presented can adapt to its surroundings. So if you place a water tile next to a house, the edge of the tile can then kind of constrict and show grass as if it's like coming to a lake, which is cool and like more flexible, which makes it easier to manage. But yeah, I mean, railroads are a destructive operation. All these towns have to be like reoriented to make them work, as we're seeing here. All right, so we got a farm quest here. Kind of wanted to make this a forest, but this works nicely for the farm quest. Or we can make a whole new farm in this direction. Because this doesn't really work here for both adjacencies. Yeah, I kind of like this. And then we can grow the farm out to this side. So now you can see what I'm referring to with the water. The water has 2 edges of water. So if I place the tile such that the water is going off to tiles that have not yet been placed, the water goes all the way to the edge of the tile as if it's going to continue into a lake or a river. But if I rotate the tile and surround it by grass, then that water is going to terminate and it's going to become a little lake. In this case, an isolated two-edge lake. So you can still place it, but obviously, once placed this way, the water can't continue into something else, which is fine. Like if you don't have a quest, if you don't have a task for that water, it doesn't really matter how you place it. But for the sense of a nice complete village life, you'd like to have a body of water that's somewhat large, that the residents can use for irrigation and drinking. So maybe what we do something like that. But now you can start to see how the water is pointing out towards where the railroad will have to be. So now we're giving ourselves a constraint where we're going to have to curve this railroad line around where the water might be, or terminate the water and still curve the railroad around it. So railroad is always the tricky one. Yeah, fishing hole works too. I got no quest for the water, so I can do whatever I want with it, but I want to try and keep it open so that I have somewhere to connect future water tiles to and make something pretty. This farm is kind of growing out of control. I kind of want to put a stop to it, so I'll leave that tile for like closing it off. So let's do it this way, and we'll manage the railroad when the time comes. Okay, so now we got a railroad tile, and so our options when we get tiles with railroad on them are to, you know, place them on our existing railroad tiles and continue it, or create a brand new area where there's going to be another railroad. And like, yeah, sometimes it seems more flexible to just like place it somewhere totally different and say, okay, there's going to be a different railroad set of railroad tracks over here. But then eventually, like, you're going to have to deal with that problem. So I find it easier to just kind of like try and make the railroad tiles you already have connect as soon as possible, so that you can try converge them. Because there are terminus tiles for railroads. There is like a tile where like the railroad ends. So if you get that, then you can close off one of the lines of your railroad. Okay, so let's do it this way. See, we got this one little building next to a railroad track, so that can be like, you know, like someone who's an operator on like switching the tracks. Has a little house there, or it's like a storage facility for gear for doing that job. And this farm will get wasted, but who cares? Alright, so now we got a tile that's got a mix of things. It's got a farm, it's got a forest. So the forest is it's a terminating piece because it's one edge surrounded by other edges. So we can close off a forest like this. Yeah, something like this works pretty nicely. Alright, let's do this. See how it goes. In the board game version, it's much more imperative to finish tasks as soon as possible, because there's a fixed number of tiles because of the fact that it's a board game and the tiles are, you know, printed. In the video game, they can invent whatever they want, so you could effectively have infinite tiles. Alright, so we've got here two-edge water, but it's like kind of designated as a river. So when it's designated as a river like this, there are restrictions to it being placed. I can't have it point at nothing. It's gotta be open to more water continuing this. So if I remember correctly, the board game version is designed to be cooperative play, if I remember correctly. I don't know if there's a competitive mode. Probably wouldn't be, because, you know, you'd need like 2 sets of the game, I guess. But yeah, I think it's designed to be cooperatively played. So you take turns placing tiles, but you know you talk to whoever's playing with you about what you want to do. Now, what I want to do is get some more coffee. So be right back. I made some extra coffee today because I was up late doing some work last night. So I need me some coffee. Okay. I might create a separate water system if these other elements align nicely. Yeah, we definitely need to plant some coffee beans. I'm gonna do this and see what happens. Alright, another railroad tile. So now it's starting to get tricky. Alright, I think I want to curve the railroad away from every other tile. This seems to be really the only benefit. And yeah, we get another house that's just on its own. But yeah, it could be whatever. People can stay there overnight to do their responsibilities on the railroad, or just a storage place, whatever. Or maybe that's where, like, you know, the teenagers go sneak off to, and they don't want the parents watching what they're doing. You know what would be a good idea for like a game in this style of like SimCity and whatnot, is to also bring in like cultural traits of you know, like modern civilization that we recognize from our recent generations. Like, you know, where do the teenagers go get drunk in the basement of one of their friends' houses when the parents are like off, you know, away at a wedding over a weekend or something? Like, that could be part of the gameplay. Because, like, you know, the SimCity games and, like, City Skylines is fun, but there's, like, a cleanliness to it. And, like, that's part of that appeal, is you're creating somewhat of a paradisical situation. Kind of like this game, right? You're creating a very lovely, you know, romantic town. But the real world is not so nice. And so, but like, it doesn't need to be like totally skeevy type of game. It could just incorporate a few of these like elements of, like, you know, where do the teenagers go see a ska show, you know, on a Friday night. Like, it doesn't need to be like disgusting and dirty. It could just be a little more attuned with the, you know, real world requirements or expectations. Okay. Or even like little details, like, you know, in City Skylines, if you place like a mall or something, you know, which group from the high school is like hanging out at that mall? Like, which clique? Maybe give them a name. And like tell a story where, like, you know, they ignore, they're the popular kids and they ignore like the nerds who are like passing them by on their way to the board game store. Something like that. Alright, enough nostalgia. Right. I should continue this town quest. In fact, let's try and complete it. Yeah, this works out nicely. Then we can close it off. Oh, the next tile coming up is wild. It's a 6-tile farm. So if we put it right here, we can join these quests. Which is probably the best idea. We do have 2 mills right next to each other if we do that, but so what? Yeah, I like this idea. I kind of want to give myself some freedom again, especially with this railroad and the water. I don't want to like have too many open things going on. Alright, so now we got another river tile, and just like the other one, we have to use it as a river. But the way it's laid out, if I connect it to my other river, it's going to basically create a little loop, which could be like a terminus of the river. If I get another tile where there's a fork, that could work out. But I'm basically waiting for like one type of tile in order to like make that happen. There are another nice advantage to the video game version is that the total types of tiles is adjustable with more flexibility than like the board game version. So, you know, how many tiles, like for example, the farm tile where there's 6 edges of farm, how many of those come in every game? You know, how many 6 housing, how many 6 water, how many... And in this example, if I want to make this circle, what I'm looking for is a 3-edge water that has 2 consecutive edges, and then one of the edges across. Like, how many of those are there? So it's 3 total edges of water, but only 2 of them are contiguous. And I don't know how many of those there are. Maybe there's none. But you can, I think in the settings of the game, like, go through and tell it how many you want of each type. Okay, I might put... Yeah, this is kind of tricky. Now that I've closed off this group of houses, I kind of want to do something like this. Yeah. Alright, so now we can continue one of these sides of the river. Something like this won't work out well. This might be interesting if I run the river like this. Let's try this out, see how it works out for us. So now we start to see like how some of these tiles are restrictive. Like I can't place this tile here because of the river. So if you get too many of these tiles that are like only accepting of very specific types of tiles, you end up in a tricky spot trying to place new things. Now this isn't exactly right for this. Yeah, this works nicely. Yeah, I love when things kind of start getting closed off, because then you can feel like you've got a part of the village that has a story behind it. Like this set of farms, farming plots, is now closed off. Like I can't expand this further. And so there's a lot of them. This is the nice fertile strip of land where all of the people who live in these houses here have their own areas. And that's pretty common to like self-sustaining agricultural communities where you got a collection of houses together and then you got a lot of connected plots of irrigable land that, you know, generations have decided who belongs to what. And then maybe you can get vicious with it. Maybe like the part that's connected, that's adjacent to a water source, that's like the wealthy family's farm. And then they keep expanding what's theirs because they create predatory loans for the farms that don't have access to fresh water and suffer from a bad harvest. And so they give them food in exchange for, you know, yields from their farms in subsequent years. But if there's another bad harvest, then they take their land. And then one family starts accumulating all of the best farmland in the town until they have so much power they become essentially, you know, royalty. Now that's the story of human civilization. But no, this is a romantic village. Everyone cooperates and gets along. Ooh, look how this water is going to line up. This could be nice. Alright, now I got a big lake building over here. It kind of works out nicely. Our largest set of farms is going to be next to this giant lake, and apparently also this river here, which we got to do something about at some point. Yeah, so there's a lot of restricted tiles here that I'm nervous about. We got a river we got to deal with. We got a farm that needs expansion in order to meet its task. And then we got a big lake that we also have to continue growing. Oh boy. Alright, so... Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we got to appreciate about agricultural communities is, there are predatory practices and have always been throughout human history, but food decomposes. Like, you can't hoard it. So even if you're a wealthy family with an excess of food, sometimes, a lot of times, it benefits you to just give that food away and gain the goodwill of the society that you're trying to be an aristocrat of. Okay, let's do this. I like the way this is looking. Oh, look at that, a giant forest, 6 forest tile. So where's that going to be? It could be here. Or it could be here. I kind of like it here. I like the way this village has expanded so that there's like a row of houses leading to the forest. It's kind of nice when everything isn't just like concentrated blob where there's little pathways and non-contiguous sections. Like, that feels, more organic and more in line with the way real villages grow. Like, they're not planned on a grid or anything, and not necessarily even in line with like the terrain. Just sometimes their growth follows the arbitrary development of their past. So, like, we got a story here where these houses came first and they had their plots for growing some crops, and so when they wanted to expand for population growth, they didn't want to tear down the farm, nor should they have to. So new houses just went around it into the forest. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Alright, so... Ooh, this actually lines up pretty well. We actually can't connect all of this forest, but maybe we don't need to. One of the things I like about it is, like, when you don't have a task associated with something, in this situation here, this is actually 2 independent forests according to the game. But it doesn't matter once you place it, because visually it looks like a connected set of forests with just like a clearing between them. And that's a different type of look, also organic. Like this little clearing here, maybe that's like where people go have picnics. I don't know. Okay, so here's exactly the tile I was waiting for. Wait. Where did I say I was going to use this? No, I messed that up when I was talking about it. I needed 2 tiles, which had rivers, and then eventually connected them. I don't know what I was trying to say before. Okay, so we got a forking river. Exactly. So if I play my cards right with this, I can complete the farm quest and keep this river going and potentially connect this river to the lake. Now that's a tall order. There's a lot of things that have to go right. And my next tile is like a terminus farm kind of thing. So I wonder what I'm going to do about that. I kind of wouldn't want to place that because I got to deal with the river. I don't have to make the water converge though. This is the other way this can go. This gives me much more flexibility. But because this tile has a river anyway, whatever comes here is gonna have to have river, no matter what. So, at least now I can control it somewhat. No. Let's go this way and just see how it grows. You also get little bonuses. It showed up there. When you have a tile where all 6 edges have the matching edges with the tiles surrounding it, they it's like a perfect tile placement, and you get extra points. Okay, so here we go. We can try and collapse these farms. Or we can create a new farm quest somewhere over here where there's room. Yeah, let's create a new farm quest. Got some forest to deal with. Sure. All right. Yeah, so if I had done an arrangement like this, where I'm creating almost a circle with the river, then a tile like this that has this fork, that's what I was trying to refer to. That's right, I didn't end up doing it. But if I had done it, I actually would have been in good position to take advantage of it. So maybe I'll try it now. Maybe? Alright, let's do it. Let's see what happens. Alright, let's try and deal with this set of farms. Yeah, we still need to grow it. So maybe instead we grow this side. I don't love that because it starts closing off my options for growing the farm plot. Okay, let's do this, I think, maybe. This also closes off things, but... Alright, let's do that. Straight railroad piece. So which one of these railroads do I want to just get out of here? This one has room to twist and turn, so we'll let that one stay. This one could also turn in this direction, so let's make this one go out straight. Okay, let's deal with our water features. I like that big lake that we're making, but we could also use this water, which has 3 edges, not 2 though, to close this off, but it's 3 edges, so that's not going to work. Yeah, let's work on this lake. I love the way that lake is looking. Let's take a sip of coffee. Alright, so now we got our first railroad quest. Oh, this is a perfect spot for it too. We have a connected forest that looks really nice. And we can make the railroad twist away from the other tiles. Is that a 91 forest quest? You're mad, game. Mad. Alright, so we could do it out here. Or over here. There's tons of room. We've already satisfied it if we place it here. It's actually kind of nice. Beautiful. Now we've got a housing quest. Yeah, this town here, this set of houses looks like it's ready to be expanded. Actually, now that we've removed the railroad from turning in this direction, we could easily do something like put this here and just, you know, create a cluster of houses right next to the railroad and this little bit of river. I'm sure that'll make the people who live there happy to be so close to a railroad. It's either that or do it like here-ish somewhere. Yeah, this is kind of nice too. Let's do this. This is a neat challenge tile. It has one edge of forest that comes with a quest of 157 plus trees. And so you basically have to have already either have to have that already ready to go, or you have to place the tile and like expand the forest such that it terminates on that tile with the proper size. So that's a fun way of doing a challenge. I think for me, a good way to use that would be to put it over here, create a separation between, well, it's a lot of options I have. I was kind of hoping to connect these houses just for the aesthetics of it. Yeah, it's kind of cool how you can create like little islands in the water too. Yeah, I'd like to start closing this water off. Yeah, totally blank tile. How boring. I could create an island in the middle of the water. I don't want to do that though. Probably something over there next to that big forest. Yeah, I want to try and make more housing here. And this could be whatever, cool stuff. So I don't want to interrupt this. Alright, let's just use it somewhere neutral. Like over here. This is kind of a cool way of having like little islands within a lake and taking up a tile. But if I get a 6 water tile somewhere else, it'd be perfect to plop in here. Yeah, this isn't a bad way to use it. Sure. Unlock the biome. Cool. How did I do that? My little town is so cute. Yeah, one of the downsides of things like railroads in a game like this is that organic development of a railroad doesn't produce the same appeal as organic development of any of these other features. Like the biological features, like trees and water and stuff. Like, it kind of doesn't matter how it ends up looking. It registers as appropriate to our minds without much help to explain it. And things like also houses, like any arrangement of houses can have justification behind it. And then like water to some extent too. But railroad, if you have a bunch of like winding railroad that's all next to each other and like forking off and converging for no reason, it's really hard to make that feel right, because railroad is something that has a design before you start, and you can kind of intuit what the purpose of it is, to go between 2 points, let's say. So you'd have one line between 2 points of interest, and then maybe it forks off and goes to a third point. But like just kind of winding, random, meandering, branching off, that's hard to have it make sense. So I always dislike the railroad part of this, because it never feels like it ends up right. Like this won't likely work as something that's going to look cool at the end. And it doesn't particularly help to do stuff like this either. Like create a little circle here. Why would that exist? I'm going to try and do it though, because there will be tiles that connect, you know, one edge to an opposite edge. I'm going to try and prepare for that. So I kind of want to do this and close this off, otherwise we're in trouble. In which case this is open for whatever. And it's kind of a bland tile. So maybe just put a bland tile there. Alright, we'll have to hope for the best. Right, and this railroad now is going to start going in this direction, so we'll have to prepare for that. Alright, let's start crafting the other side of this lake. That's cool. Yeah, these forests don't have to connect because there's no task associated with it, so it could be a clearing. In terms of like completing tasks, you do want to leave some of these things open-ended so that when task tiles come in, you have ways of advancing them quickly. So I don't want to close off like all of my housing. This is going to be weird with the water. I don't know how that's going to work. But like this, doing something like this is actually nice because these housing sections can connect and create a big one if I need it. But they also don't have to. Again, with the water, this is going to be tricky too. I want to leave that a little open-ended. Alright, so we'll just make this farm a small farm probably. Or we do something like this. With this tile coming. Oh no, another complicated railroad tile. Oy, oy, oy. How is that gonna work? This might be the closest I get to something that works. I need a lot of things to go right here. And again, like, what would this end up being? Like, it would make no logical sense. But nothing I would do in terms of, like, making this expand further would help that. So, let's try this and hope for the best. This is gonna work. There's no way. We need a straight tile, that's possible, but then we need, like, two adjacent edges, and then the third one continues that way. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright, let's see if I can close this quest off. Nice, we got our 6 water tile coming. Alright, this can pretty much go anywhere, including here, but the river is a problem. So maybe just do something like this. Okay, the river tile we need to deal with the most. There's a lot of them. We need 2 water pieces now. I think that'll happen. But it can't be with... This one actually might work. That's 2 water pieces. We'll see. 23, you say? That's a big quest. Could connect it to you and keep you going. Very boring tile. Alright, terminate the farm, or the grove. Sure. Yeah, we need like a 3-fer. Alright, that's gonna work. My town looking. Looks very nice. I think maybe we call it a stream. And maybe we continue this some other time, or maybe we don't. We'll see what happens. Did I take a screenshot of this? I think so. No, here we go. Alright, that'll be it for now. We'll be back with more games later. Probably some Baldur's Gate if I have time later today. But be well.